A channel here over at SubScribestar. So James Gunn and the Peacemaker show, John Cena, about the perfect white society, and then I came across this tweet about kind of the left-wing fantasy society, and the more you look at it, the worse it gets, because you realize, oh, this is fiction. Nowhere, this is like a metastable to unstable society. Nowhere would you see this and it would be stable for more than a very brief period. The only way it's possibly stable is if the surrounding country is super stable. Like maybe in some Scandinavian countries, you might have something that kind of looks like this. But then you look at the crime rates now, you realize, oh, it's already falling apart because there's like more terrorist attacks in Europe now, and like knife attacks and trucks of peace, and it's like this, you never see this is a fantasy world, this is a fictional world. But the James Gunn Peacemaker safe society you actually do see, but you have to do a little bit of a time traveling. So the subconscious of the globalists is an absolutely fascinating place, where they try to manipulate the narrative so that if you want a clean, safe society, maybe even with your own people, like your grandparents had, then welcome to the far right, Mr. Hugo Boss. Here's your Mauser, and then of course they can murder you. The neighborhood lending libraries have these books that go around that I just, of course, compost. And one of them is something about like how to be an anti-racist baby, and it sounds like some kind of a communist struggle session. And I go through it and read it. Nowhere do they define the terms they're dealing with. It's just assumed that you understand what these things are. And it's like at some point, like you'd be doing your child a disservice, because it's like the definition of propaganda. If you're teaching this in school, you have to ask, well, is someone going to define these terms? What are the elements of the term, and then what are the elements of the counter argument? It's like that's never going to be taught in schools, which is why homeschooling is probably taken off that and the whole woo-flu thing. So, to be against violent crime, well, that means that you're a fascist. Which most people hear that and go, "Oh, great, that sounds fantastic. Where do we sign up for that?" I look great in Hugo Boss, because fascism sounds a whole lot better than this current system, whatever we have now, with, as I said, in Europe, various trucks of peace and stabbings. We don't have guns in London. It's like, every 6 minutes, somebody is stabbed. No, every 6 minutes, a cell phone is stolen. And then I think twice a day, people are stabbed to death. So congratulations for that. So there's this meme that shows a perfect white town. It's clean, peaceful, and quiet, or everything works perfectly. The safe, high trust, high IQ society with social cohesion, no bowling alone there, or 7-Eleven nationalism, circa some small town out of the 50s, or even though Stephen King wrote about these small towns out of the 50s and 60s pretty well, where you have no home invasions, or drive-by shootings, or grooming gangs, or cracked out violent junkies stabbing people to death on trains, or lighting them on fire and people just walk by or step over bodies. Thanks, James Gunn. What an interesting message you have given us, where you have a town where no parents are sterilizing their kids, no filthy Weimar degeneracy. Oh, wait, that's how the left wing portrays a negative, that Leave It to Beaver type of town, where the worst character was it Eddie Haskell? He was like the troublemaker or something. So this is known as the Starship Troopers / media literacy issue, from the sodomy-addicted, mentally ill, porn-addicted, soy boy coomer consumers who love the current thing and the next Star Wars type of whatever Marvel movie. Though I guess that seems like it's kind of on the way out. That used to be a thing where even Kevin Smith could lampoon that level of addiction, but you really don't have those kind of fan fanatics when the product is so bad, and the latest offerings are really bad. Like there's nothing to even get people in the theater, much less to be excited about. Where if you like movies, you're just gonna have to get used to watching old movies. Oh no, don't worry about it. They're coming out with Gremlins Part 3 and Goonies Part 2. Like from 40 years ago? Really? You really can't think of it? Yeah, but it's gonna be like diverse and gay and probably trans. Anyway, so the it's like this the softest of soft men are creating the hardest of hard times that are not here yet, not at all. You're going to look back at this and go, what a paradise. How did we throw this away? So the left are big believers in media literacy for the cattle debt slaves because I guess they trust the parasite media companies because maybe they think they're on the same side. The billion-dollar Epstein Island companies totally support power to the people. Because you'd have to be insane to think that those companies are on your side. What was it? Occupy Wall Street, and like a couple years later, Bank of America funding a gay pride parade. You look at the left, and like, wait a minute here, wait a minute, is this kind of subversion 101? And the leader's like, yeah, but they like drove up to my house with a car, with a briefcase full of money. What do you want me to do? So media literacy means accepting globalist, anti-white, anti-nationalist propaganda. Instead, we'd prefer to just interpret movies as we wish because we're not bleeding soy boy pussies. And probably most of us read Heinlein books. At one time, I guess I read everything he wrote. He's all right. A little, like even for the time, he was a little bit of a degenerate, though it's like nothing like it is today. So, I mean, yeah, most of us have read Starship Troopers, and it bears no resemblance to the movies. And we're aware of the heavy-handed propaganda, the jingoistic nationalism of stomping on bugs, and where it's the humans against the bugs, because wrong or right, we have to root for humanity, because we're humans, survival's a biological imperative. And to the left wing, fascism means healthy, fit, happy people who want to live in clean, safe neighborhoods. And the soy people identify with the bloodthirsty, violent bugs because for the left, any healthy structure or in-group preferences are a negative for their group. For other groups, for non-white groups, I guess in-group preferences are just fine. As you saw with that image of the woman in the hijab, and her neighbor with the rainbow flag and the dog, and someone in the comments goes, of all the things that never happened, that never happened the most. So the problem is the vermin media brainwashed them with a lifetime of propaganda, and it's more than just their lifetime of propaganda. It's multi-generational media brainwashing that has been going on for as long as you had moving images on a screen, but kind of mostly since post-World War II. Fascist to them is that we love our race and we're not universalists, which is weird because that's how every tribe on Earth feels. But for the left wing, it's only a problem when we do it. You could literally just take arguments and substitute different ethnic groups, and they only get triggered when it's people of European descent. For some reason, the brainwashing was really effective on left-wing people because we were all subject to the same propaganda. It just didn't connect with us. Like, we looked at this and go, oh, this is like clearly anti-white, globalist Hollywood who have, they call like the 90% of the country flyover country. This like they make movies about the South, but they have no understanding whatsoever. So to the right wing, like we didn't get the real meaning from some silly movie that's like obviously over the top jingoistic propaganda, or the Peacekeeper show where some right wing base chads are running a society, and wait for it, everything works perfectly and is safe and nice. And there's been a few movies that have dealt with that, like what if the Axis powers won World War II? It's like, well, don't get me started. So this is what white America used to be like, some kind of 50s idyllic city or whatnot, where they American cities like Chicago used to be called, I don't know, the Paris of the West. They had these kind of names. Or Detroit was the City of Lights. Or, St. Louis was a city known for raising healthy, safe families or whatever. Or like even cities back then, you wouldn't connect city with safe because it's like they just were, because, it was what it was. So I actually suppose it's gone full circle to where Chicago is just as safe and nice as Paris is. So congratulations there. But in the Peacemaker, a safe, quiet town out of the 50s is a problem. And this is kind of where the left wing falls down on the portrayal of fascism as a negative, where the safe white town just functions perfectly. Well, that's exactly what people want. People don't actually want to be murdered on a train for the crime of having blonde hair with the Ukrainian girl, or to be set on fire by a Latin American illegal. We don't actually value diversity. Nobody values diversity. It's just this little tiny subset of Hollywood virtue signalers and politicians who say they value diversity, and then you look at where they live, and they don't value diversity. That's also part of the human condition. We don't need authentic food from Bumfuckistan because we have the recipes. But James Gunn thinks his stupid show is important because he says that he sees racism increasing everywhere. Yeah, we can all agree that anti-white racism is a problem, but Gunn was not specific about where this racism was coming from, or even exactly what it is. It's odd that he didn't give any examples. It's like he walked right up to the edge of something and then backed away, afraid to say anything concrete, because I suspect it'd be something about Trump, because these fruitcakes find a way to work Trump into everything. You know, hey, knock yourself out. He's not running for office again. I'm not sure what they think he's doing that is getting James Gunn's panties in a bunch. He's the same guy, James Gunn, who was making jokes about hurting children, so he should probably keep quiet about politics. I wish Trump was the right-wing dictator that they think he is. Unfortunately, he is not. He's actually not doing anything. There's no mass deportations. There's no Epstein list. There's no wall on the border. There's no bringing manufacturing back from China. Instead, he bombed Iran for Israel. For some reason, even though he said he was not going to get us involved in any new conflicts, and by definition, bombing a foreign country is an act of war, and he's giving billions of dollars in taxpayer money to Israel, to Ukraine, and to pretty much everyone on Earth except for the American people, which is weird when the country is trillions of dollars in debt. If it doesn't make sense to think you have that much extra money. If you did, you would just cut taxes, or you do something domestically, not give money to foreign countries. Americans actually pay for free health care for Israel while the country is going bankrupt. I mean, it's kind of the end stage of a country where they're looting the treasury. So both the left and right are seeing Trump as they want to see him, not as kind of the useless puppet that he is. So here's the thing. They banned John Cena's little dance, I guess, because it was the friendship windmill. So here's the thing to James Gunn and all the other Epstein Island types who are running Hollywood. We'll care about hatred against your pet groups when you start caring about racism against people of European descent, which will be never. So they can just go suck a bag of dicks. Just a bunch of wealthy fruitcake loops, I'll say, to censor out the other thing I was going to say. Living in gated communities, deep in a very safe echo chamber. During the Wu flu, when they sung Imagine, was it Gal Gadot, from their mansions in their gated communities with armed guards singing Imagine while the flu went around, and everyone pretends it was like was it William Defoe's Journal of the Plague Years. That was the darkest book I've ever read. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.